Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking casting news for Season 3 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show. If you're new to the channel, that's what we do. We keep you abreast of all of the Wheel of Time news, whether it's the mundane, the fantastical, rumors and speculation, all the way up to official news, leaked videos, leaked set pictures, everything you want to know about the Wheel of Time, so we cover here. If you want to be kept up to date on all your Wheel of Time news, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, of course, gives the channel a bit more reach. And I am trying to hit 20,000 subscribers prior to September 1st when Season 2 comes out. We're well on our way there. We're about a little over 600 away. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I think we're actually going to reach the goal before the end of June, which is amazing. Thank you all so much. So everybody new to the channel that's subscribed in the last couple months, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. I am trying to improve all the time, and I just have a whole lot of fun doing this. And for those of you who've been here since the beginning, and I know who you are, I see you commenting on every single video. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much for that. I do really appreciate it. I do notice the comments. So there's that. Thank you. Now, we are talking casting news, and this comes to us from WotSeries.com. If you don't know who they are, or if you're new to the fandom, they basically come out with 99% of all of the Wheel of Time news. I've left a link to the article down below in the description box. I do ask you folks to go over there and read the article when you're done here. Maybe leave a comment or two and bookmark them and check back off. And they come out with a ton of news. Now, at this point, I'd normally give a spoiler warning for however many books I'm going to talk about, because I talk about the actor itself and then I speculate which character they're going to be playing. But the characters I think they're going to be playing are very, very big, have wide-reaching arcs in the series. So I'm going to give a cursory spoiler warning right now up to Book 4. That's The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, The Dragon Reborn, and Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, the Wheel of Time series, because I may ruin very, very minor points from that book. I'm just going to talk about places and I'm going to talk about names. I won't talk about who the characters are, how they fit into the story. We'll save that for a much bigger spoiler warning later on, because let's face it, if he is playing who I think he's playing, we're seeing the first of our really big cast members from Season 3. All right. So who is he? Who is this actor? This is Luke Featherston. He is a British actor who's been acting since 2018. Now, he actually started his career around 2015, but he didn't really get going in film and television until 2018. He's probably best known for Flowers in the Attic, The Origin. That also stars Kelsey Grammer. Really big name, if you didn't know that. Now, if you don't know what Flowers in the Attic is, essentially you can pretty much walk into any drugstore, any grocery store, any corner store, at least in Canada and the US, and you can find the Flowers in the Attic books. They are the epitome of mass market paperbacks. They're insanely popular, and it was a really good limited series. So there's that. Now, Luke, like I said, he hasn't been acting very long, and this goes right along the lines of Amazon and Sony kind of getting things together and taking new or upcoming actors and actresses and putting them together with people who have a ton of experience. We've talked about people on the show with acting careers who span decades and hundreds of credits, including being formally trained in classical arts and theater, and just being absolutely amazing at their craft. Amazon and Sony and their casting company are doing a really great job of pairing brand new people, or people who don't have a whole lot of experience behind them, with people who do. Not only does it benefit the show in the way that they don't have to spend a ton of money on big A-list actors and actresses, but they are also giving their cast experience and letting them play off one another, which I think one of the strongest aspects of the first season was the casting. They did a really good job taking a bunch of relative unknowns in the Emond's Field 5 and pairing them with some very, very experienced and well-trained actors and actresses on set, where they not only got experience, but they got to interact and play off of one another, and it was just amazing to see. Even watching the first episode right to the last, I saw growth in every one of the cast members on screen. And when I say I saw growth, it doesn't mean they started out poorly. Not at all. They started at a really high bar and finished the series at a much higher bar. That makes any sense at all. So I think that's what we're going to see here. Now, Luke, who do I think he's going to be playing? Well, there's two characters I think he's going to be playing in the third season. I'm going to say them, then I'll give my spoiler warning for the rest of the video because I want to talk about them. The first character I think is likely for him to play is probably going to be Lord Luke. Now, Lord Luke is someone that Perrin meets in the Two Rivers during the Shadow Rising when he goes back to protect his hometown from the White Cloaks. Now, I won't get much further into that because I didn't give a huge spoiler warning, but he's someone there who has been trying to rally the townsfolk. And he has interactions with Perrin throughout a number of books afterwards, and is a central part to a lot of Perrin's storylines. So there's that. The other character I think he may be playing and this is a possibility, is Galad. Galad is Elaine Turcan and Galad Turcan's half-brother, and he's also really important to the storyline. I think he may be showing up in Season 3 rather than in Season 2. I'm going to get into that in just a second after I give my spoiler warning. So, at this point, if you haven't read the book series and you don't like spoilers, I'm going to give a huge spoiler warning to the end of the series. So, spoiler warning for the rest of the video. I'm going to speculate on the two characters I think this cast member may play. In doing so, I may ruin plot points and character arcs from the entire Wheel of Time series. That's the first book, The Eye of the World, all the way up to and including Book 14, A Memory of Light. I'm giving a huge warning here because I don't know what I'm going to say because most of this is off the cuff. And I may ruin major plot points and character arcs from the entire series. All right, that being said, let's get on to the speculation. All right, so let's talk about Galad first. Now, I gave a spoiler warning for the entire series for a reason. I'm going to ruin a bunch of stuff. I'm also going to speculate some things about Season 2 that, if they happen to be true, I apologize for ruining for you folks, but I can't give a spoiler warning for it because I really don't know if this stuff is true. I'm guessing, speculating. So here's what we know about Season 2 for sure. We know we're getting Galad Turcan. We know he's going to be on screen. He was in some of the edition tapes. Rafe Judkins has mentioned that he would be in the second season in a roundabout way. We know we're getting Elaine Turcan for sure. She's cast, actually officially cast. Sierra Coveney is cast as Elaine. Absolutely amazing. I actually am the one that broke that news prior to the official casting, which was pretty cool. Now, I don't think that we're going to see Galad in the second season for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is we're already getting a ton of really big characters that are important to the storyline and the plot line in the second season, and you can only kill off or put so many of them on the shelf till much later without convoluting the second season. Galad really doesn't do a whole lot till much later on in the book series. He is sort of used as a love interest for a bunch of different people in a roundabout way, and he has some small tasks that he performs here and there. But his whole story really begins when he becomes a White Cloak, in my opinion. Yes, he does do some sort of important things prior to that, like his warder training and different things of that nature. But when he becomes a White Cloak is when Galad really becomes an interesting character, in my opinion. So I think what's going to happen is I think that during Season 2, we're going to see Lord Captain Joffrey Bornhold probably fall on screen, pushing Dane Bornhold's whole storyline forward, his hatred of Perrin, the whole 9 yards, which is the driving force for his story in the books. I think we'll see much of that true to the books on screen, maybe in a different fashion, but that'll leave a void. We know that Eamon Valda has already been cast. We've seen him in the first season. He will be back for the second season. We don't know exactly how far that's going to go. We know that Eamon Valda in the book series eventually becomes Lord Captain Commander. So I think that what's going to happen is in Season 3, when Luke first shows up, I think he's going to be cast as Galad, show up on screen already as a White Cloak, perhaps even already as a Lord Captain in the White Cloaks and one of the Council of the Anointed. It might just be easier to accelerate his storyline to that point and start showing the friction within the White Cloaks before he goes and actually slays Eamon Valda and takes over as Lord Captain Commander. You see why I gave a full book series spoiler warning here? That's pretty much why. Also, it gives the White Cloaks a more human side when you see someone like Galad, who is supposed to be a paragon of virtue and justice, who doesn't really have much emotion. He always just does what's right. You see him in the White Cloaks, it'll make them more of a whole entity rather than a one-sided, flat 2D enemy, kind of like they were in the first season. I mean, the White Cloaks were introduced. They were really that cool. They really didn't do a whole lot. They furthered the plot, of course, but it was just like the books. The White Cloaks didn't really become interesting until much later. And I think they're going to do that earlier with Luke being cast as Galad, showing up as a Lord Captain, and starting to contest for the rule of the White Cloaks because of all the evil they're doing. And how cool would it be to see Luke on screen with Dane? I mean, that'd be really cool. We know our Dane already. He's been cast. We had a video about him not long ago. He's been interacting with a lot of the fans on social media. I think the two of them would probably be pretty good friends. Either way, I think it's kind of cool. Now, the second person who I think he's cast as is the more likely of the two, and this has much further ramifications to the story, I think, than anything else. All right, so now we're going to talk about Lord Luke a little bit. Now, I said in the intro, he was someone that Perrin met in the Two Rivers that sort of rallied the Two Rivers folk against the White Cloaks, and was sort of a thorn in Perrin's side, just a smidge. He's way more than that. So Lord Luke is actually Slayer. Slayer is an amalgam of 3 separate characters in the book series. The first character is Luke Mantyr. Now, if you recognize the last name a little bit, it's because Tregane Mantyr, Randall Thor's real mother, is his sister. So that's the first character. So Rand's uncle, Luke Mantier, merged with Isham Mandragoran. Do you recognize Mandragoran name? That's a relative of Lan's. They get fused together into a third character by the name of Slayer by the Dark One. Now, Slayer had some very unique abilities. He could kind of transpose himself between Isham as well as Lord Luke in the waking world and in Teleran Rioid, the world of dreams, which is really very neat. He had some very powerful abilities in the world of dreams, and he fought against Perrin for a good portion of the series. He shows up here and there. His backstory really wasn't explained real well until much later, and I've said it before, the bad guys in the book series were never really as well-rounded as I liked. A lot of them were very 2D, whether it be the Forsaken, the White Cloaks, the Slayer, Paddan Fane. They were not utilized or written as well as I would have liked. And that's just my opinion, and it's one of the few complaints I have about the actual book series itself. And I'm hoping the show improves upon that. So like we talked about where Galad could start out as the White Cloaks and we could start seeing an improvement on the White Cloaks, I think showing Slayer in Season 3 and giving more of his backstory, making him more of a central character, making him more of an antagonist, I think would be the ideal way to do it. Now, for those of you who are still on the fence, I want to show you a picture of Luke that should be the smoking gun that he is playing Slayer, because Lord Luke is Rand's uncle. Rand is played by Yosha Stradowski. Luke and Rand could be brothers from the look of this photo. I saw this and I was done. I'm like, there is no way he is not playing Lord Luke or Slayer in the series, because he looks too much like Rand. This is him and Yosha could be. You could put them side by side. Like it's eerie. It's uncanny. I'll eat my shirt. Actually, if he's not playing Lord Luke, and I'm going on record to say that now. I will eat my shirt. I think he's playing Lord Luke. He's got to be. There's no way he's not. Either way, really very neat, and I hope he is playing Lord Luke, because it would. And I hope, like I said with the White Cloaks, I hope they make them a little more filled out, a little more 3D than the 2D villains we got in the book series. I want to hear the backstories earlier. I want to see their motivations. I want to feel for them. I want to feel their reasons behind being bad, other than just, I'm bad because I'm a bad guy. I got a lot of that out of the book series, and I think a lot of you did too. Later on, of course, some of them were fleshed out a little bit better and explained well, but especially in the first half of the series, the antagonists were not exactly the strongest ones in a book series I've read. So I'm hoping they do a little bit better in the TV show. Either way, let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. Do you think Luke is playing Lord Luke? Do you think he's playing Galad? Do you think they're going to flesh out the antagonist just a little bit better on screen? Or am I completely at lunch and you think he's going to be playing a third, fourth, or fifth different character? Let me know in the comments down below. I really want to hear from you folks. And I want to thank you all again for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.